Wow, suddenly it got quiet. How'd that happen? Good afternoon. It's good to see you all, and I'm honored to be here. My name is Michael Zinzer. I'm representing the Faculty Assembly, and I'm honored to be in that role and to have the chance to introduce our Chancellor. First, an overview of the afternoon events. We're going to be doing it a bit different this time. The first part will be the usual State of the Campus address, and then that'll be followed by a Q&A that we're going to have here. And that'll involve me as the faculty representative, Jamie Sutliff representing the students, and Michelle Larson-Krieg representing the staff. Now, if I won't try to recount the Chancellor's activities and accomplishments over these past years that have gone so fast, that will come. And instead, I'd like to offer some personal comments, and I'd like to say that from the very beginning, when I first met her, my sense of her was immediate and instinctive, that she had a heart I could trust, and more than that, that she heeds her heart in her decision-making and does so with a first-rate intellect. So, welcome, Chancellor.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for coming, and thanks, Michael, for those very kind and generous comments as well. It's great to be back here to the Lola and Rob Salazar Student Wellness Center for our second year, and it looks like it's wearing well, isn't it? What a great space this is. I want to thank Amber and her team here at the Wellness Center, as well as Zach and Kelly for all of the work that they do to make these kinds of events possible. And also to our great UCOM team, the University Communications team. So Leanna and your colleagues, thanks for your assistance with getting the word out about this and also with the visuals that we'll be using today. And we have a number of special guests here today that I would just like to recognize as a group. They include the president of our alumni board, David Heisler, and David is a former student government officer, and David, we're really glad to have you here today. We also have some members of the Chancellor's Development Committee, and these are folks who are real friends to CU Denver, and many of them are actually alums of the university and lend their time and their expertise to supporting our work. So I'd like to thank them for being here. We also have some colleagues here from the CU system and the CU Foundation. A very special welcome, and it's the first time I think she's been officially welcomed by CU Denver, Colleen Walker, who is the new CEO of the Auraria Higher Education Center. And because this is my last State of the Campus address, I asked my husband if he wanted to come today. So Ted is here as well. So will all of you stand, the guests that I just mentioned, and let us So in our time together today, I'd like to do several things. I do want to take a quick look back at the last 4 years and some of the major accomplishments. I want to share with you why I believe that CU Denver is at the right place and the right time to move from success to significance. So that's what I titled today's speech. I want to describe our current financial picture and our plans to address it. I want to outline the top areas that need our collective attention this academic year. And then, as Michael said, that we'll conclude with an informal Q&A session with the leaders of our student, faculty, and staff governance groups. So let's get started. You know, in the busyness of our day-to-day activities, it's easy to lose sight of the extraordinary work and accomplishments that all of you make possible. So here's some highlights from the last 4 years. Let's start in 2016, when we opened the Comcast Media and Technology Center and with leadership from the College of Engineering, Design, and Computing and the College of Arts and Media. We did the Reach Out and Listen tour. We developed 5 strategic priorities that would guide our path forward. We convened working groups followed by action teams to address some of the most pressing issues that were identified. We launched our Student Success Partnership with the Educational Advisory Board. We celebrated our first, what has become an annual Links Fest for our alums and family members of our students to come to campus. Our fundraising reached an all-time high of nearly $19 million that year. We opened the Next Stage Gallery that was a partnership with the College of Architecture and Planning and the College of Arts and Media, along with the Denver Arts and Venues at the Denver Performing Arts Complex. We developed our first standalone facilities master plan for CU Denver, and we reclaimed CU in the City brand. 2017, we initiated campus conversations. The School of Education and Human Development launched a partnership with Otero Junior College to help address the rural teacher shortage. We became a JED campus. We partnered with the JED Foundation to promote student mental health and reduce suicide and substance abuse among our students. We were awarded a $1 million grant from the Howard Hughes Medical Institute to improve learning outcomes for our underrepresented students in math and science. The College of Architecture and Planning's Colorado Center for Community Development celebrated its 50th anniversary. School of Education and Human Development and the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, faculty from those 2 colleges launched Think Studio and began the program that continues with faculty fellows. Margarita Bianco from the School of Education and Human Development was named the Timmer House Teaching Ambassador for the University of Colorado. We completed North Classroom renovations. The School of Public Affairs Master of Criminal Justice online program was ranked 13th nationally and one of the top 3 programs in the Western U.S. We began CU at the Table in order to extend hospitality to our international students. And by the way, I just got word this morning that they're still identifying hosts for CU at the Table. So if you're interested, see the International Affairs Office. That year, we also launched a new BA/BS to DDS, the Doctorate of Dental Sciences program, in partnership with the Anschutz Medical Campus and with support from our College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. We received a really important investment from the CU system that we called Delivering on Our Promise, a $5 million a year commitment to address some of the structural budget needs that CU Denver has. We created the Office of Digital Education, and Milo celebrated his 5th birthday. In 2018, we opened the City Center that has really become our literal and figurative front door to the greater community. The business school was redesignated as the cyber for the Department of Education for the study and teaching of international business. We had our inaugural CU in the City donor celebration. We launched Navigate, the tracking tool for advisors and department chairs to provide coordinated support and interventions for student success. We created Imagine, a Great Region partnership with the Denver Regional Council of Government and the Gates Family Foundation. The College of Architecture and Planning received CU Denver's largest ever estate gift, valued at $12 million. We held the first Chancellor's Diversity Showcase. We broke ground on the Jake Jabs Event Center in the business school. We were ranked a top school for veterans by Military Times. We launched the Links Up Scholarship Campaign, which continues to be an extraordinary opportunity to support our students, and fueled in large part by the real significant generosity of our faculty and staff. We began plans to deliver what we're calling the unparalleled student experience. Tom Noel in the History Department at the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences was named our state historian. He's also known as Dr. Colorado. The College of Engineering, Design, and Computing received a $4.5 million DARPA grant to design search and rescue drones, and we developed the CU Denver Flywheel. Jillian Silverman, a professor in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, was named one of 3 President's Teaching Scholars for the University of Colorado, and we opened this beautiful Lola and Rob Salazar Student Wellness Center. This year has seen an equal number of accomplishments. We finalized the design for the first-year student housing and dining facility and learning commons. We fully implemented a new incentive-based budget model. We celebrated the 25th anniversary of the International College of Beijing partnership. We graduated the largest class in CU Denver history. The College of Arts and Media hosted its first ever town hall on publicly engaged scholarship. The College of Engineering, Design, and Computing unveiled a new name, a new vision, and kicked off fundraising for a new building. Dr. Robin Shandis, Chair of Bioengineering, was named one of the very distinguished university professors. Dr. Stephanie Santarico, a professor in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, delivered the first Chancellor's Distinguished Faculty Lecture. We named our first cohort of TIAA Chancellors in Urban Engaged Scholars. The Center for Faculty Development graduated the first cohort of Association of College and University Educators in Effective Teaching Practice, and we've just launched our second cohort. We completed the renovation of Campus Village. We launched U at CU Denver to support students and their wellness. The School of Education and Human Development graduated 48 EDD students, of which 11 were part of the inaugural Latinx cohort. School of Public Affairs welcomed 30 executive MPA students from Shandong, China, as a part of a new cultural exchange program. And we opened Links Connect, which is a brand new initiative where we have combined our Center for Experiential Learning, our Career Center, our undergraduate research, and our study abroad programs. These are really but a snapshot that reflects the hard work, the talent, and the dedication to excellence that each of you and all of our colleagues bring every day. And I would say it's the story of a university on the rise. As I think back to the fall of 2015, 4 years ago, when then President Bruce Benson introduced me as your new chancellor, I recall being told by a number of people, both internal and external to our university, that the most important thing that I could do was to help CU Denver define who it was and why it mattered. Yes, our history is complicated by circumstances, including being in a crowded and somewhat confusing marketplace, having undergone several name changes, not having leadership focused exclusively on this campus for 12 years, and existing in an environment of declining financial support from the state. But what has been consistent is something infinitely more powerful and sustaining. And that's a special spirit of strength and resilience that I think is hardwired into the DNA of this place. It comes from deep within each of you. Call it what you will: scrappiness, resolve, an unwavering commitment to social justice and opportunity for all. And it's not surprising that those very qualities mirror the attributes that describe our students and our alums. Along the way, CU Denver has crystallized an identity that is distinctive and codified in Colorado statutes. That is, that the University of Colorado Denver is the state's only public urban research university. As we've embraced that as our North Star, It has provided guidance and direction that has helped inform our priorities and solidified our strategies. And I believe that it has secured a place that is not only defined by our success, but also by our significance. You see, an urban serving university is more than just a university located in an urban area. To be urban serving means to be integral to the social, cultural, and economic well-being of the community we call home and the people we serve. I believe that there are 4 elements that characterize our work as an urban serving university, and I think these will resonate with each of you because you are a part of making it happen. A focus on student access and success. And for us at the undergraduate and the graduate level, that means that we are accessible, and anyone who has the ability and the desire to succeed can be successful at this institution. We serve primarily residents from the region and the state of Colorado, but also open our doors to around the country and around the world. And we have a special focus and commitment on student success. A second characteristic is the engaged research and creative work, the scholarship that is provided by our faculty and oftentimes in conjunction with our students, and it's guided by the potential use and application of the results, and it strives to respond to problems and needs of the community and the larger society. The third characteristic are meaningful community partnerships, where we connect governmental entities, the business community, educational institutions, and the social sector to the wealth of the university's talent, expertise, technology, and resources. And this is exemplified by us in the creation of the City Center. And economic development, where we leverage our assets as a catalyst for growth, improved quality of life, and economic prosperity in the larger community. Today, 55% of the world's population lives in cities. According to projections by the United Nations, that number will grow to 68% by 2050. 2/3 of the population will live in cities. While cities are the epicenter for exciting cultural and economic opportunities, we know firsthand that urbanization is accompanied by demographic, environmental, economic, and social challenges. This underscores the indisputable fact that CU Denver matters. It has for almost 50 years, and its role going forward will be of increasing importance. I will be so bold to say that CU Denver and other urban-serving research universities represent the future of higher education. Our faculty have expertise and insight, and every day are creating new knowledge and solutions to address some of humanity's most perplexing challenges. Our diverse student body is drawn to the vitality of the city and brings ingenuity and energy as they prepare to be the thought leaders and problem solvers of the future. The greater Denver region is growing with business startups, expansions, and relocations. Their success depends on having a pipeline of skilled talent, and they look to us to help fill it. Meanwhile, Denver is ranked among the top U.S. cities in attracting millennials. That, coupled with the fact that Colorado lags behind in the percentage of our residents with post-secondary credentials, says there is no shortage of potential students who need what we have to offer. For us to deliver on our promise means that we have to be at the top of our game. We need to be even more data-driven in our decisions regarding our products, our programs, and our services. We need to strengthen our connective tissue that leverages our efforts and provides greater speed and efficiency in how we get things done. And we must have a strong, stable financial foundation that enables us to not only sustain our operations, but invest in our top priorities. That leads me to our current financial situation. I know you've heard from me and our budget team that the CU Denver budget relies heavily on tuition revenue. In fact, 80% of our operating budget comes from the tuition paid by our students, those who are continuing students as well as newly enrolled. This year, we were grateful to receive a 12% increase in state support. But that state support represents a fairly small portion of our budget, and for us, that was $4 million of an increase. In exchange for that, the state held our tuition levels flat, which is good when we're talking about affordability, but when we are so dependent on the tuition, that has an impact. Meanwhile, mandated costs, so those are the costs that we do not control, such as benefit increases, software licenses, our share of the expenses that go to support the Auraria campus and the CU system, increased by $5.7 million. We couple that with the fact that this fall, our student headcount is under by which we projected by about 2%. That said, we still attracted the second largest freshman class in our history, but we fell below what we had projected for returning students and new graduate enrollments. So all of that added together translates to a fall 2019 revenue shortfall of about $2.2 million. And if our spring enrollment for 2020 remains under budget, if you annualize that shortfall, it amounts to about $5 million. And really, it's true that our budget reality has been described as being on a razor's edge. The difference between being financially healthy or not can swing one way or the other with a difference of 300 students. So we've already begun the work with our schools and colleges and our central support units to address this shortfall. This isn't the first time that CU Denver has had to face this situation, but we're now in a much stronger position to do so because of our incentive-based budget model. We've engaged the Chancellor's Advisory Committee on Budget that's comprised of the leaders of our faculty, staff, and student governance groups, as well as the deans in the cabinet. They've wrestled with tough decisions about our budget. We will address the shortfall with a combination of one-time central funds that have been set aside as an enrollment contingency, along with permanent strategic budget reductions in the academic and central support units. So we will all have a stake in this. And the really good news is that we have time to positively impact spring enrollment with targeted recruitment and retention efforts. And that takes all of us. Over the next six weeks, Provost Rod Nairn, Senior Vice Chancellor Jennifer Sobonet, and I will be meeting with the faculty and staff of each school and college to answer questions and to seek your input. Also, we'll be holding a campus conversation on Friday, November 1st, focused on the budget. Everyone will be welcome, and it will be an opportunity for you to get more information and ask questions. Longer term, we will be aided by developing a strategic enrollment management plan. We've redeployed resources, and in early November, we'll have a new Assistant Vice Chancellor of Enrollment Management to lead this effort. It's clear that higher education has entered a new structural reality with a downturn in birth rates and continuing signs of decreasing state support. We must find new student pipelines and do a better job of retaining the students who enter and helping them graduate. Each one of us has our hand on the tuition revenue tiller, and each of us really can make a difference. So while I'm certainly no David Letterman, I prepared a top 10 list that captures our priority action items for this year. And these are all tied to our 5 institutional priorities. The first, continue redesign of the student experience with the goal of streamlining our systems and processes so that we can make it easier for our students to focus on their learning and well-being. And this will include work on our web pages as well. The second, to further engage faculty in effective practices that improve student learning, persistence, and career outcomes through the new Center for Teaching and Learning Excellence. The third, we are going to implement the faculty information system to assist in cataloging and increasing the visibility of our faculty's research and creative work. Fourth, we're identifying a pool of resources to stimulate scholarly work, including that focused on urban issues. Fifth, we're going to fully utilize Links Connect to enhance our students' experiential learning opportunities and prepare them for the next steps in their lives and careers. Number 6, continue to align our academic offerings, our degree programs, our shorter-term certificates, and customized courses delivered both online and face-to-face that reflect market demands and serve a growing adult population. Number 7, initiate campus-wide dialogues to increase our understanding of and respect for the differences among us while strengthening the connectedness and sense of belonging within our community. Number 8, we'll use results of an upcoming climate survey on diversity engagement that will be administered system-wide for the University of Colorado to develop and begin implementation of an action plan that addresses identified needs. Number 9, we're going to develop and launch a strategic enrollment plan with a focus on growing both undergraduate and graduate enrollment. And number 10, adopt continuous improvement processes that lead to better efficiencies, increased productivity, and enhanced outcomes across the institution. You may have read in CU Connections that President Kennedy has launched a strategic planning process for the CU system. There are CU Denver representatives involved on the various system-wide working groups, and there will be opportunities for others of you to engage with the campus teams as this work progresses. It's good to note that the priorities identified in the system plan are largely consistent with ours at CU Denver. That means our efforts will be amplified by what's happening at the system level and vice versa. This coming year, you'll also be hearing about preparations beginning for the reaccreditation of the University of Colorado Denver Anschutz Medical Campus by the Higher Learning Commission. This is a process that happens every 10 years, and ours is scheduled for April of 2021. Provost Rod Nairn and Associate Vice Chancellor Terry Potter will be leading this work, and there will be many opportunities for a number of you to become involved in that as well. And as you know, a search committee will soon be named to assist with the selection of CU Denver's next chancellor. President Kennedy has requested nominations from the campus for that committee. Venkat Reddy, who is the chancellor of the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, will serve as chair, and there will be many opportunities across the campus for you to provide input into that process. I'm very confident that CU Denver will be well positioned to attract a pool of highly qualified candidates, because here's what I know for sure. The CU Denver that I've come to know and love is a place that matters. Our faculty and staff matter, our students matter, our alumni matter, and our work matters. We are at the heart of a vibrant city that needs what we provide: new knowledge, insightful thought leadership, and a talent pipeline that reflects our changing demographics. This is a place with a strong history and an even more promising future. I've found in life that it's important that a person loves what they do and does what they love. Then it has meaning and value. When you truly love something, then you strive to do right by it, and you fight for it. You can expect that I'm going to keep the pedal to the metal until I retire next June. And after that, you can count on me to continue to be one of your strongest and loudest cheerleaders. It really has been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your chancellor. I'm extraordinarily proud of the work that we've done together, and I feel fulfilled knowing that I contributed in some small way to CU Denver's journey from success to significance. Always remember that no one can value us more than we value ourselves. Know that I will be eternally grateful to each of you. I ask that you extend to your next chancellor the same generous spirit, patience, grace, and kindness that you have shown me. And I thank you for all of that from the bottom of my heart. So at this time, I'd like to invite Jamie Sutliff, the president of our Student Government Association, Michael Zinzer, the chair of our Faculty Assembly, and Michelle Larson-Krieg, chair of our Staff Council, to join me on stage for an informal Q&A.
Well, we're going to have a round robin of questions. We've developed these questions, and we aim to make it conversational, right?
Great. That sounds good.
It strikes me that in the first question, when I wrote, you've addressed this very much and very well in your presentation. But I'll ask it anyway, and perhaps we could frame it as directed to a particular student. Here's the question. President Kennedy has likened the 4 campuses of the CU system to his 4 children, each with distinct character and personality. What makes CU Denver distinct and special relative not only to our siblings, but to other institutions of higher education?
I think that's a really good question, Michael, and many of you know that I'm one of 8 children. So, my parents said each one of us 8 were special as well, and that, you need different things at different times, and you have different strengths along the way. And I really believe what I said, which is that when we live into what it means to be this state's only public urban research university, that's something special and very distinctive because of all of the characteristics that I talked about, that I do believe that, if there wasn't a Denver campus as a part of the University of Colorado system, they'd really be missing something really important. One of my favorite things to do is to talk to students. And when I talk to our students and ask them about why do you choose CU Denver, they generally give me 3 things, and the order might change, but they love the diversity of the student body that we have, and that's extraordinary. We're the most diverse research university in the state of Colorado. Secondly, they love the vitality of the city and all of the opportunities to engage with that. And third, they love the quality of the teaching and learning that takes place here. And I think if we continue to concentrate on those, Michael, that will continue to define us and set us apart in terms of being something that is extraordinarily valuable.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything that any of you would add to that when you think about us being distinctive?
Well, one thing I'm wondering, we are a public urban research university. Could you talk in more specific about what opportunities that avails us?
Well, I think that as a public university, is that what you're thinking of?
And urban.
And urban.
Importantly, urban.
Yeah. I think the experience that our students can have can be enriched mightily because of just the proximity that we have, that whether it is in internships, the partnership that we have with Anschutz Medical Campus so that our students and our faculty have the opportunity to work across those two campuses, I think is something really special that our students have as well. And, you know, to work alongside, there's something very different, I think, and really extraordinary when you learn in classrooms with people who are discovering new knowledge. It's extraordinary. It's really, you know, you can't hold a candle to it in terms of the richness of that experience. And so, you know, one of the things I think we have as a challenge of being a public urban research university, but just a public university, is the fact that, and we may get into this a little bit more, but I think the notion of, is higher education a public good or a private good? I happen to believe that it's a public good, and I think our democracy benefits from that, and yet we systematically have reduced the kind of support that we give from the public into that public education system. So that's a challenge, but it also is what's so important about us being accessible to the kinds of students that we serve. So there's a juxtaposition there that is a challenge, and yet it's really critical to who we are.
Thank you. Jamie.
Yeah, similar to Mike's question, as our campus continues to grow and change, how are we remaining true to our campus mission and our values?
I think, you know, when I think back, Jamie, and I've only been here 4 years, but there are a lot of people in this audience and around the campus that have been here a lot longer. And I think they live those values every single day. And when you make decisions that are based on the values and that you embody those, and the priorities you set and the actions that are put in place, that happens. I think it's unmistakable that one of our highest values is respect for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that's, as I said, hardwired into this place. The commitment to social justice issues, the commitment to excellence, the commitment to connectedness within our community, the commitment to innovation and discovery. All of those things, I think, are values that are just, they're real, and that they do get manifest in everything that we do. So I'm not too worried about that.
Thank you.
And I would add that I think that the first-year housing project also reflects some of our, it's a big change for us, but it reflects the value of making things as affordable as possible and as accessible as possible to everyone that we can possibly serve. So
yeah, I appreciate you adding that, Michelle. And I too think that that's going to be a potential game changer. You know, that there are students from within the metropolitan area, the rural areas of Colorado, and out of state and international that are going to really benefit from that, and that sense of community that comes with having a living learning experience at the same time, I think is going to be powerful.
Great. Well, I was very pleased to see several mentions of international. I'm the director of International Student Scholar Services. And along those lines, you know, I know that you've done an excellent job in representing CU Denver in the international arena during your time as chancellor. And I'm just wondering if you can tell us about an international trip or an experience that was especially meaningful to you.
I really love to travel, and it's been a great privilege and pleasure to be able to do that. Probably when I think about the ones that stand out for me, I've been to Beijing twice, and there's something really neat about being able to, we have over 200 students from China here on our campus every year as a part of the International College of Beijing partnership. But, and we have an even larger number of students studying in Beijing. And so to be there for that experience and to see them in their own environment, to see our faculty and staff who are there, who are so committed to this program, and to have it celebrate its 25th anniversary. and you always eat really well when you're there as well. And one of the reasons I'm so passionate about study abroad is I didn't do it as an undergraduate, but 10 days after I graduated, I spent 9 months in the Republic of China, Taiwan. And so it's fun to go back to China. But I can't end the answer to that question without talking for just a minute about another extraordinary international experience that it was actually made possible by a program that one of our alums from CU Denver, Jamie Van Leeuwen, has in East Africa, in Uganda and Rwanda. And so Linda Bowman, who's here, and Wendy from the School of Public Affairs, we traveled there with a group of CU Denver students, and were there in Uganda and interacted with folks that lived there, and our students had projects that they were working on to really improve the quality of life. Some of them were focused on nutrition, others were looking at the financial issues that they were facing, and it was just a really wonderful experience to be there with our students, and we all shared the same baths and sinks, and so we'd see each other at our best and our worst 24/7, but it was really, really wonderful.
Want to follow up on that?
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, this won't come as a surprise to you, but you're the only female chancellor in the CU system. And
Thank you.
so, as in most places, women are underrepresented in the highest levels of administration. How did you do it? What guidance could you offer us? What guidance could you offer us, and what advice could you give to the women who can lead us to get us more women in leadership?
You know, I feel extraordinarily fortunate, Michael, along the way that, you know, I had a lot of opportunities, and I was oftentimes the first woman doing what I was doing. And, you know, I had 4 brothers, so, and 3 sisters. So, you know, we always looked at it as we all had jobs to do and gifts to give. And so I feel personally, from my perspective, that, you know, I stepped up into the opportunities that were presented, but a lot of people opened a lot of doors for me, and I will be forever grateful for that. And that's part of where my commitment comes, not just to women, but all groups that are underrepresented in leadership positions, because I really believe that it's the diversity of leadership that really builds strength and is most effective in dealing with the issues and challenges that we have. I'm really pleased when I think about the leadership of CU Denver and the number of female vice chancellors that we have. 3 of our 8 deans are female. We need to continue to do a better job of attracting diverse pools from ethnicity perspective to all of our positions. But I look at it and I think, you know, it starts by really doing, really making a commitment to attracting diverse pools of candidates, male, female, and all other of the characteristics that you would want to see represented. And providing opportunities, and it goes both ways. People need to be willing to step up and take those opportunities when they're presented, but we also have to make it easier at times to do that. And I think about, you know, every year when the provost and I review the performance and tenure materials for faculty, and pay attention to, you know, the number of females and faculty members of color that are being promoted. And you have to have that pipeline strong in order to get them to that point. And so it's something that you can't take for granted, that I think we always need to be mindful of. And it is, you know, in my life, I have found that there's never a shortage of work that needs to be done. And when you step forward and say, I can help make something better, that people recognize that. And it's pretty simplistic in some ways, but it also is, you know, when you are focused on helping, you know, whether it's an organization or a unit or an office, be better, that people will notice that. And it's not to say that that's going to be a panacea, but I think it is preparing yourself. You know, oftentimes when I'll talk to students, I don't know that I've said this, had the opportunity to say it to Jamie, but you know, in talking about getting prepared, that, you know, I say it's almost like a deck of cards. You open up your deck of cards and you say, what are the skills that are going to be needed to do whatever it is that I want to do? And how do you prepare yourself for those? So some of it is that you create those opportunities yourself. Others of it, you know, you've got to look for somebody perhaps to mentor you. And, you know, I think so that you get those experiences, and I think our Center for Faculty Development is doing an outstanding job in that regard. But, you know, getting whatever educational credentials that you can, so that you are prepared, and when you have those opportunities that you can step up and into them. Thank you.
And you know, I think that another important thing is that those of us who look for leadership positions, there's so many wonderful faculty and staff at this institution, but it's really important to see role models and see those people. And so thank you for being such a wonderful role model for all of us.
All right, you touched on it a little bit, I should say, but in what ways, I think CU Denver really prides itself on diversity and inclusion. So in what ways do you think CU Denver can continue to make strides in advancing inclusion for families from diverse, cultural, and linguistic backgrounds?
I think we have charted a pretty good course, and we need to continue to stick with that. You know, our pipeline comes from K-12, you know, in part for our traditional student population. And I think the partnerships that we have with K-12 and, you know, the opportunities to bring young people to this campus and to see that this is a place that would be welcoming to them is really important, because you begin to plant those seeds really, really early. I also think that us being a welcoming place where people do feel like they belong here is critical. And our current students become our best advertisement for attracting students in the future as well. So I think, you know, us making a concerted effort to make sure that you know, and we'll be hiring a new vice chancellor for diversity and inclusion, and what Brenda Allen helped us get started in that regard was really putting CU Denver on the map and letting people know that we were open to all sorts of diversity, and that we wanted to, that's a hallmark of ours that we want to continue. So I think it's staying that course. It's looking at, because along with you know, the diversity of you know, whether it is the demographic diversity, it's also keeping it affordable, and looking at how do we continue to increase scholarship funding. How do we provide even more institutional financial aid and support services so that particularly our first generation students have the support that when they come here that they feel like they can be successful here. Do you have some thoughts on that, Jamie?
I think those are great ideas. I think one that I was thinking of while you were also speaking was thinking of orientation and how maybe translators might help at those, or.
Interesting, good. I think I saw some of the folks who work on our orientation team, so that's a good thing for them to hear and take into consideration.
You've been instrumental, or we're instrumental, in reclaiming the CU and the city brand. what's one way that all of us can further strengthen and deepen the connection between our institution and our community?
Well, one of the things that this may be, again, somewhat simplistic, but I think being proud to be a CU Denver student, staff, faculty member, and talking about it. All of us have circles of influence, and I love it when I cross campus and I see students who are wearing spirit gear, that and that pride that comes with that. So I think that on an individual basis, just really saying, that I'm a part of CU Denver and being the folks who are closest to us are the very best ambassadors that we have. But beyond that, I really am supercharged about Links Connect. And if you haven't seen that space, it's in the old theaters on the Walnut Street side of the Tivoli. And they just opened within the last week or 10 days. And for it to house our Center for Experiential Learning, undergraduate research, the Career Center, and our Study Abroad program, and to have all of those services together, so that, and those are really the ways that students and our faculty and staff can help support those connections with the larger community. I think really leveraging that. And we've had a little conversation, and I'd love to see this take hold and grow. I'd love for every single one of our undergraduate students to have an experiential learning opportunity, and that would be a hallmark of an experience here at CU Denver, whether that is an internship, whether it's working in a research lab, whether it's doing applied projects in the community. And so I think us looking for those places where we really can partner with a larger community, that there is an unlimited number of opportunities to do that.
Yeah, I agree with all of that, yes.
Okay. What will you miss most when you leave? And related to that, what parts of the job have brought you the most joy?
I had tucked a tissue inside my folder. That's a good thing. What I'll miss most are the people. I really have grown to love this place, and all of you know Diana Kelly. Diana is here somewhere today, and I was talking with her last week. And I said, got the State of the Campus address next week, and what do you think, is there any message that I should reinforce? And she said, Dorothy, she doesn't call me Dorothy, she calls me Dr. Harrell. She said, everybody thinks you're their friend, and that you know so many people on campus. Well, that's because that's what has absolutely brought me the most joy. I love your stories. I love why you come here, the students, what their hopes and dreams are, and how we can help being a part of that. For our faculty, we are replete with incredible, talented faculty who care deeply and choose to be at a place like CU Denver. And the same with our staff members as well, that's something that, as I mentioned earlier, that alignment when your values and what you believe in so deeply resonates with the work you're doing, there's extraordinary things happen. And so it's that opportunity to engage and hopefully help to make the connections that lifts everybody up. And I once had a mentor who said, don't miss the joy. And I kind of live by that there really isn't a day that has gone by that at the end of the day, when I kind of reflect back on it, that usually it's multiple things that cross my mind that I am so grateful for, and that I have really just been enriched by as well. So, but it's the people that make the difference.
It's about connections and relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
People. It brings to mind discussions we were having just yesterday about implications of that for student success and retention.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely. You know, and Peter is here, Vice President of Student Government. Peter, where are you? Raise your hand. There he is. And I think this story has gotten repeated, but we were having a conversation one day about, you know, the relationships, and we were talking about student success, and he said, the reason I'm here is because 2 faculty members knew my name. That matters, and that, you know, that's where, when I say that each one of us can make a huge difference. And, you know, it's, and I know that a lot of people do this, and if every one of us, though, would just make a little bit more effort, because, you know, the world is a challenging place, and there are all sorts of discouraging things that can happen, and, you know, when somebody reaches out and makes a personal connection with you and says, how's it going? Is there anything I can do to help? That's huge. And so it really is the relationships. And I think that's something that knits this CU Denver community together. And I'd love to see more of that. The provost and I started lunches, periodic lunches with groups of faculty members, and it's always interesting to me because of the disbursement of our buildings and all on this campus, that we'll have people who have been here a number of years who've never had an opportunity to really meet each other. And I'd love to see us figuring out ways that we can make that happen more often, so that, because it is an incredible community, and I feel privileged that I've had a chance to be a little bit more of a bumblebee and be able to land in lots of different places.
Well, as we're continuing to reminisce, I would say, on your time here, what was the most memorable student planned event that you attended as your time as chancellor?
Student planned event. I really love the scholarship celebrations that our students put together, because they are, they're so grateful for the support that they've gotten, and oftentimes at the end of the year in the spring semester, they'll have the pictures of the students over their time here at CU Denver, and they'll have a chance to thank the donors who've made those scholarships possible. And so those are really fun. And then some students are involved in planning. It's not totally student planned, but I think our block party is terrific. And then what's the event that takes place in the fields where all the booths set up that the students do?
Fall Y'all?
Yeah, Fall Y'all. Yeah, I like that one as well.
It's coming up soon.
Yeah, good. I'll be there.
And Chancellor, this will be our final question.
Okay.
Okay. You've had a long and exemplary career in higher education. What has kept you engaged in this always challenging and sometimes frustrating work?
I think most of you know that I'm a first-generation college graduate, and I know the difference that education makes in people's lives. And so that was a calling, more or less, I think. And I really believe that education is the instrument of hope. It's what makes more possible for us individually and collectively. And so, you know, I spent about the first 30 years of my career in education, starting at high school and then primarily in the community college system, and then left to go into the private foundation world, but even then had a finger in higher education. And then when I was asked to come here, and Ted would say to you that when I talked to him about this, he said, well, I don't think you're quite finished yet. And I said, I'm done but not well done. You know, I think, as I say, my head and my heart ganged up on me, because it does resonate so deeply for me that what we have really is transformational in people's lives. And I think, again, given the environment that we are in as a world right now, we need the opportunity for people to be educated. and to learn how to think about differences of opinion and engage in the decision making and do it in respectful kind of ways, and to have a base of knowledge to be able to do that. And we know too that the jobs of tomorrow are going to be the jobs that require more and more higher level skills. And so it's really that commitment, I think, Michelle, to just knowing that education is the difference maker in it has been in my life, and I've seen that in a lot of other people's lives as well. So it's been where my heart always ends up. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you, Michael. Thanks, Jamie, and thanks, Michelle, and thanks all of you for coming. So we do have some treats, I think, that are, and I know what I requested, and I'm not sure whether that's what we had. Oh, so apple cider and spice cookies. Okay, hey, if anybody's up for an autumn treat, head over across the way here.
And
Thanks,
one
all
more
of
last
you.
quick note. I know we have several months until Chancellor Harrell retires, and we'll be celebrating her and her many contributions to CU Denver and to each of us as her final day approaches. But since this is her final State of the Campus address, we've asked a special guest to join us. This is someone who is very fond of the Chancellor and just wanted to give him a token of his love.
Oh, hey, hey. Oh, Milo, whoops. Those are beautiful. You have really good taste. Thank you, Milo. Thank you, thank you. Those are beautiful. Wow, thank you. Those are gorgeous.